And Zach, this how powerful is this tornado that just hit near Oklahoma City?
It's about as powerful as they get. This looks just like what happened back on May 3rd of 1999. The track is almost identical, a little bit on the south side of that track, and it'd be an absolute miracle if no one was killed. It's just unreal when you look at the damage. This is going to headline all of the national news, and you can see it coming in right now. This is raw video coming in from our sister station, KFOR, the NBC affiliate in Oklahoma City. And again, this is south and west of Oklahoma City near the town of Moore. And you look at these photos and it's just unbelievable, the video that you're getting right here. And this is not in just spotty areas like we saw yesterday. This is across miles and miles of populated areas. That's the difference today. This tornado, this damage that you're seeing is probably EF4 or possibly EF5 in some locations. That's as powerful as tornadoes get. This thing was over a mile wide. In fact, at one point, the damage debris ball that was noted on radar was 2 miles wide. Look at the top part of your screen right there. Those are slabs completely wiped clean. That is EF5 damage, no question about it. And you see the video that you're seeing here to the right there, just above the banner, those are homes that are completely gone. This moved through a very, very populated area. Really just heartbreaking to see this video. You see a fire raging there right now. This is just almost identical to what happened back on May 3rd of 1999. These people have already been through this a little bit more than a decade ago, and they're having to live through it again. And unfortunately, some of the reports we're getting right now is that it did hit an elementary school. We don't know if the children were moved from the elementary school or if they were in that elementary school when the storm hit. It was just about the time when school was supposed to be let out.
Our chief meteorologist, Zach Daniel, is the only Richmond meteorologist in Oklahoma. He arrived there today to lend a helping hand to our sister station there.
Zach spent nearly a decade forecasting the weather and reporting on tornadoes there. He filed this report tonight.
We were dead center.
I just sat, just like this and just kind of braced myself, and it sucked the necklace right off my neck.
I was at my office in Oklahoma City.
In just minutes, this monster reduced well-established neighborhoods to nothing more than piles of rubble.
It's just an underground shelter, holds about 6 to 8 people.
John was prepared, but still needed help after the storm had passed.
Couldn't get the door open, beat on it a while, yelled and screamed a while. Within the hour, some people came. They got the door up. They were pretty adamant about get out.
As for Jeffrey, he was just glad to see the storm heading away.
When it was kind of died down a little bit, I came and just watched it continue to go through the town out this way.
As soon as the storm had ended, relief began to pour into the area from all directions.
Take the lid off of that one, Tracy.
And the strong sense of community isn't lost on John.
Look at how many people are sitting here supporting me right now.
Just happy to be alive and with loved ones.
I love you. Casey, have you met my wife?
In all that was lost, just simple keepsakes are enough to keep Kendra digging. Is there anything you're trying to find, or in particular, or just anything that you can salvage?
Pretty much anything I can salvage, but my oldest son was a preemie, and I had a bag of his few little preemie outfits, and I'd really like to find those. And they were in a Walmart sack in my bedroom, which I think is right over there somewhere.
And although Jeffrey's a big Sooners fan, he might just have a new lucky hat.
This hat right here was sitting on that door just like that, and it never moved. I mean, it stayed right there. Right when I got up, I looked, and the hat was still sitting on the door.
And in all of the devastation, these Oklahomans still have it all in perspective.
I mean, it's just stuff. I mean, no lives were lost in my family, so I'm thankful for that.
Thank you so much.
In Moore, Oklahoma, I'm CBS 6 Chief Meteorologist Zach Daniel.
And our coverage continues as CBS 6 Chief Meteorologist Zach Daniel prepares for his second day there in Moore, Oklahoma.
Yeah, Zach filed this report after spending more than 12 hours on the ground helping those still picking up the pieces.
Well, the plan for the day is to get an early start, and that's no different than day one. If we learned anything from day one, it's that around every corner and down every street, the needs of these families trying to pick up the pieces from this disaster, they change. Sometimes a family just needs you to help them lift something heavy so they can continue to look for some of their valuables. Other times they just need a cold drink and a snack to take a break. And then sometimes families just want to talk to you. They want you to listen. They want to be able to have their story told. It's a way that they heal, is by having somebody hear what they've been through. So the plan for today is just to let the people of Moore tell us what they need. From Moore, Oklahoma, I'm CBS 6 Chief Meteorologist Zach Daniel.
And you can look for his report starting today on the CBS 6 News at noon. Now,
that's where Chief Meteorologist Zach Daniel is today, and it's where some Richmond Red Cross members are working now, helping with food and shelter. Zach?
Well, photojournalist Brad Wilson and I have relocated today to the small community of Bethel Acres, Oklahoma. This is just a couple miles to the south and west of Shawnee. You might have heard about this in the news. You might not have. They haven't gotten as much attention here just because the damage path isn't quite as wide here and not quite as long. But if you look back across my right here, over this white truck, you can see how extensive the damage here is. And in many cases, this does mirror what happened in Moore. An EF5 tornado moved through this area, leveling every structure in its path. As a matter of fact, if you look down at what I'm standing on, this is actually the foundation of a mobile home that once stood here right before the tornado came on through. Where it is right now, I have no idea. It's a good thing that just 15 feet away is the best possible safety you can find in a tornado, an underground shelter, no doubt saving many lives here within this community. One of the survivors here back behind me, Virgil T., he made it through the storm. We're going to hear his compelling story tonight at 11 o'clock on CBS 6 News. For CBS 6, I'm Chief Meteorologist Zach Daniel, live from Bethel Acres, Oklahoma.
We've also sent our Chief Meteorologist Zach Daniel there to help local news and weather crews with our sister station who've been overwhelmed. Tonight he's in a town about 35 miles outside Moore, a place that was hit by a tornado the day before the big EF5 touchdown.
It's going to be starting over again. Wow. Yeah. We're going to have to start over again.
Yeah. Starting over. It's what thousands of Oklahomans are facing, not just in Moore, but in the small community of Bethel Acres.
The tornado that was in Moore was so devastating that I think everybody's kind of focusing on those areas when, you know, these people clearly need as much help as everybody else.
The stories here echo those from the Moore area.
This is my home, and it used to belong over there by the tree, and it's skidded over here. Not skidded. There's no skid marks. So it flew over here.
The tornado that hit Bethel Acres was a powerful EF4 twister with winds of nearly 200 miles per hour. It came from over this hill, moved through this community, destroying everything in its path, injuring dozens and leaving one person dead. That one, the best friend of Virgil T.
We heard someone got killed out here that drove a black car, and I said, I don't know, that's him. And they found him in the road, kind of all messed up.
And while nothing can ease the pain of losing a friend, there's no shortage of comfort around here.
We can help you.
Yes, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
So a friend of mine, I said, what are you doing this afternoon? And so I grabbed her and we came to help these people.
Strangers helping strangers, neighbors helping neighbors. That's the Oklahoma way.
Yeah. Even though they're standing in front of their own home that's been destroyed, they're really worried about the guy next door, and I think that's just been incredible.
I'd really help you, but my knees are stiff. And
that's okay. That's what we came here to do, was to help you.
Very little can withstand this storm, but the spirit here remains rock solid.
They're showing patience and they're showing strength that I've personally never seen anywhere I've been before, and it's really inspiring.
Virgil values these blessings, from the helping hands right on down to the good home cooking.
I'm going to hate to see them go. I got used to their hamburgers.
But it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like this is what the Lord wants me to do.
From Bethel Acres, Oklahoma, I'm Chief Meteorologist Zach Daniel for CBS 6. We're in Moore, Oklahoma on our third and final day. We've got to catch a flight in a couple hours back to Richmond. We wanted to come back down to the damage site, though, for a little while today. And there are a lot more cars in here, a lot more traffic, because they pulled the checkpoints and allowed everybody in. And mainly everybody that's here now are just volunteers and homeowners. They're taking advantage of some pretty decent weather to try to salvage whatever they can. Any valuables, irreplaceable items. You can tell by looking around, there's really not much left that hasn't been completely destroyed, and in many cases, completely rain-soaked after getting nearly a half a foot of rain over the past 4 days or so. We're standing right across the street from Plaza Towers Elementary, where the 7 children died. The teachers here, real heroes. They did everything that was asked of them. The storm of this magnitude, unfortunately, just wasn't enough. And if you think about this, if you look around and see this destruction, and consider that 1,300 homes were completely destroyed, it's a miracle that only 24 people were killed. You have to attribute it to several things. A lot of the folks here in Oklahoma take this very seriously, use a lot of these underground shelters. A lot of the folks here saw the storm coming. You've got to give a lot of credit to the local meteorologists here that let them know this was coming. They got out of the way. They didn't have below ground shelter, and that spared a lot of lives, there's no question. So over the next few days, the folks here are going to get what they can. The bulldozers are going to get the rest, and those that have insurance may choose to rebuild. 4 to 6 months from now, they may have their lives completely back together. But in terms of the mental recovery, from what everything these people have been through and have seen over the past 4 to 5 days, that recovery will likely take a lifetime. For Moore, Oklahoma, I'm Chief Meteorologist Zach Daniel for CBS 6.
Today, Chief Meteorologist Zach Daniels back home after a trip to Oklahoma where he was helping out not only the people affected by the tornado in Moore, but our sister station, KFOR. Zach's very familiar with the weather in Oklahoma and joins me now to talk about his time there last week. It's good to have you back. We certainly missed you while you were gone. Now, you have seen the wreckage left behind by many a tornado, or at least a number of tornadoes. How does this one stack up?
Well, the benchmark tornado was always the '99 Moore tornado. And unbelievable that it happened again in Moore. But I went back and I've seen it before, 14 years ago, and so I kind of knew what I was going to be seeing. Still, you can never prepare yourself for it. In this case, it was a little bit wider.
Now, Oklahoma knows tornadoes. They've seen them. Folks there have drills. They're ostensibly prepared. How did they respond to this one? I mean, we look at these scenes and we just see utter devastation everywhere. I mean, it looks unimaginable.
Yeah.
How do they respond?
I think the most telling statistic is that there were only 24 people killed. That is just unbelievable when you consider the amount of damage, the 1,300 plus homes completely leveled by this. Unlivable. And they just know what to do. They know if they can't get below ground, they've got to leave. It was just a blessing that a lot of people were still at work. So a lot of things came together. People know they don't have that shelter. They've got to get out of there. And they took the right precautions. And the broadcasters there, the meteorologists there, they do an excellent job. They've got this thing covered from the ground and in the air with helicopters.
And people are habituated to checking in with the meteorologists, either on TV, on the radio, whatever, right? So that's part of their drill, because so many people say, well, why don't they have more shelters? Why didn't Plaza Towers have a shelter for those kids? But essentially what you're saying is because they've got a plan.
They do have a plan, and a lot of safe rooms, and with the Oklahoma soil, it's made up of a lot of clay, and it shifts. When you get differing amounts of rainfall, it causes the ground to shift, and so if you build anything below ground, it's going to shift and leak. So the storm shelters do leak. They don't have many basements in Oklahoma, which is just unbelievable considering what they have to deal with there, but it's just one of those things that they unfortunately can't go below ground that much. But they have a lot of above ground safe rooms, and there are some below ground shelters. And the teachers in the Plaza Towers, they are heroes. They did everything they were asked to do. And just a tornado this massive, this powerful, is sometimes just not enough.
And we're just about out of time, but what are some of the images that you'll take away from this visit?
I think just the overall, just the strength of these people, the self-reliance. They were picking up the very next day. They weren't asking for government aid. They're going to get some, but they were just ready to move on and rebuild. It was great.
All right, well, glad to have you back. Glad you were safe, and great reporting out there.
Thanks.
Thank you, Zach. Speaking passion.